Let's welcome back Ryan Wilson and Brady Quinn. Brady, we have not seen an Ohio State wide receiver go in the first round since 2007. Ryan has that changing. We could see a couple, though, starting with Garrett Wilson to the Commanders at 11. I'm still not used to saying that.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting tandem, right? You got Terry McLaurin, one Ohio State wide receiver on one side, and then you've got Garrett Wilson on the other. Only problem is, Ryan, who's throwing to him? I mean, are you signing back Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's an unrestricted free agent? Is it Taylor Heineke? Are you signing Mitchell Trubisky? Are you looking in the draft later on? Are you working out a trade? That's the biggest problem with this one. Now, Wilson ended up being the faster of the two Ohio State wide receivers, which would be shocking considering, again, how the 40 times worked out there in Indianapolis. But the reality is, to me, he was the wide receiver that separated himself between him and Olave this year for the Buckeyes. He's the big play wide receiver. There's really nothing that you're looking at trying to improve upon. Plays bigger than his size. He's got a burst to him. I think the only knock on him is he drops some of the easy ones. You know, he'll drop one that's like literally thrown right in his numbers or an easy pass that he should catch. You'll see it every once in a while. But outside of that, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and you can wait for Jackson Smith and Jigba next season. But those two wide receivers were phenomenal. It was a tremendous group. And you saw the productivity over the course of Garrett Wilson's career. So I love it for the Washington Commanders. I just don't know who's throwing him passes. Yeah.
That's a good question. We'll see as the season goes along. Maybe Ryan will change that in his next mock draft, number 28, I believe.
Yeah, man, I feel like Jameson Williams might be destined to return to New Orleans. And if that's the case, then they probably won't take a quarterback there. And you might be interested in trying to find a wide receiver because we don't know what Michael Thomas's plans are going to be. And Drake London, for me, is an absolutely phenomenal talent. Now, the issues are, can he outrun people down the field? And if you watch him, he clearly can, but we have to talk about things, so that's one of the talking points. Or is it just that he's a high-point catch machine? He's also that. You know, he played along with Michael Pittman and Amon-Ra St. Brown at USC, and he's built like Michael Pittman. I think he's going to be better than Michael Pittman at the next level, and that should tell you something because Pittman was a second-round pick who came in right away, contributed for Indianapolis. I love Drake London's game. He plays with a lot of confidence, and he plays football like he's playing basketball. He is just destroying guys above the rim there, so to speak. But he also outruns guys, so I don't get the talking points so that he's not creating separation down the field because every time I saw him, he was running away from guys. So I love him here. He may end up going higher, and there could be a conversation that he might be wide receiver one in that same group with Garrett Wilson and a healthy Jameson Williams, who's currently recovering from that ACL surgery.
That was my joke. At 19, their third pick, you are going with Jameson Williams. As you mentioned, look, he's still dealing with that knee injury. We didn't see him work out at the combine still. There's been no concern for you so far regarding him in the first round, and we find him here.
No, and I tell you all the time, I've talked to three teams after the injury, and all three teams said he's a first-round pick. Maybe he moves down a little bit and falls from top 15 to the bottom half of the first round. But, you know, me and Brady and DK were talking about him during the season about how you couldn't catch him. And the fact that he had to transfer from Ohio State is pretty funny to go to Alabama to get playing time. But he took full advantage of it. You could say he's sleight of frame, but some guy named Devonta Smith was sleight of frame last year and ended up having a pretty good rookie season after winning the Heisman and up in Philadelphia. I love Jameson Williams' game. He's faster than Devonta Smith down the field. He's a little quicker off the line of scrimmage, and he does all the things you want NFL wide receivers to do. Unfortunately, he had to play on turf in that championship game and bled his ACL. But I think at the next level, he'll be fine, even if you don't get him on the field until mid to late October or early November.
It's a shame, too. I do believe he would have been wide receiver one in this group. Had he come off a healthy season, given what he showcased this past year, he would have at least been my wide receiver one. He was absolutely dynamic, outstanding. It truly is a shame, but it's good to see at least there's a consensus that he'll still be a first-round pick after that injury.
Absolutely. Let's go to the Chiefs at 30. We see another Ohio State wide receiver in Chris Olave. You say thumbs up, like the speed, but also what about the defense here?
Well, I guess the objective here is just kill everyone with as many points as humanly possible, all right? I mean, you didn't have enough speed in Travis Kelce matched with obviously Tyreek Hill and then Mecole Hardman. Let's just add another, sub 4.4 guy to the mix here in Chris Olave, who honestly is probably as refined of a wide receiver as any of the names I just mentioned, obviously excluding the tight end and Kelce, but he'd be a great addition to any team. He's a precise route runner. He has tremendous hands. I can't recall a time he dropped a pass over the course of his career, in particular in the red zone. He's not blessed with that much size, but he does everything you ask him to do. He blocks outside on the perimeter. He can take fly sweeps and run and play tough with the football. He is the complete package at wide receiver, and I do think whether it's the Chiefs or anyone else in the first round who gets him, he will be there and he'll be productive for a long time to come.
Go to the Lions at 32 via the Rams, and I asked Ryan what was his favorite pick, 27 through 32, and he said this was it, Treylon Burks at the very end.
It's interesting because he doesn't have the Lions taking a quarterback here, and I know he's mocked that up before, and I thought, maybe depending on who you're looking at, are they satisfied with Jared Goff? Maybe not. But if they do go this route, look, obviously they need help and they need upgrades on a lot of positions. Treylon Burks is probably the best value here as far as looking at what he's capable of as a playmaker on the outside. He's big, he's physical, you put him in the backfield like Cordero Patterson or get him the football on a fly sweep. In the short intermediate passing game, he'll get yards after the catch, and he can still make big plays downfield. Now, what we witnessed, though, was he doesn't have the same type of top-end speed that I think the other wide receivers in this class do, and to me, that showed up on tape. So that wasn't really my expectation for him. He's going to have to make contested catches. He's a 4-5 guy, and at his size, he's not going to run away from many defensive backs, especially those guys' time this year. So I love the value here. You add him next to Amon-Ra St. Brown, you give a little more help to Jared Goff in the passing game.
And that's a good point, Brady. Sam Howell could have been certainly an option here. And part of the math I did was next year's draft class at quarterback, as we sit here more than a year out, could be stacked. And maybe that's also what the Lions are considering. And they didn't seem to be, they felt okay with Jared Goff last year. And at times he played better than probably some of us expected. But I think you're exactly right about Treylon Burks. I love his game. The thing is, if he ran a 4.45, folks in the media, probably myself included, are talking about him as wide receiver 1 because he was in that group of guys with Garrett Wilson and Drake London heading into the combine. Didn't work out for him. Had a bad 3-cone drill as well. But you know what? I compared him to sort of a bigger version of Anquan Boldin. Anquan Boldin ran a 4.72 at the combine. He was okay. So if you get something approaching Anquan Boldin in this pick, even at the bottom of the first round, I think that's great value. And he's a huge target. And if you have a quarterback you can't hit this broadside of a barn, Treylon Burks is the guy you want out there running routes.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.